There's blood on this street, and even though you can't see it anymore, it left a mark that will never fade. Here in central Kyiv, more than 100 people were killed in what became the beginning of a decade-long fight for an independent, democratic Ukraine. But it all started with a simple signature, or rather the lack of one. On November 21, 2013, exactly 12 years ago, Ukraine's then president Viktor Yanukovych, despite all his promises, refused to sign the association agreement with the European Union, choosing closer ties with Russia instead. For decades, Ukraine had been caught between two worlds, Europe and Russia, and this agreement was supposed to be the choice of a European future. So what did Ukrainians do when the choice was taken away? That night, hundreds of people, mostly students, gathered on Kyiv's main square Maidan Незалежності to protest. In the following days, the crowd grew to hundreds of thousands and spread across cities nationwide. It was a peaceful protest with a simple demand: keep the promise and return to the EU path. But on November 30th, Yanukovych made a fatal mistake. Around 4 a.m., riot police moved in and violently dispersed the remaining protesters. Yanukovych thought that would end it, but the opposite happened. Police brutality shocked the nation, and the next day, on December 1st, over 1 million people flooded central Kyiv, no longer just for Europe, but against violence and abuse of power. EuroMaidan became the revolution of dignity. For 3 freezing months, Ukrainians stood their ground, demanding to be heard. Instead, the government opened fire, shooting unarmed protesters. Over 100 people were killed. They became known as the Heavenly 100, and this street now bears their name, honoring their sacrifice. Despite the enormous price, the revolution prevailed. Yanukovych fled on February 21st, and Ukraine eventually signed the EU agreement. But Russia wasn't going to let Ukraine go. As the revolution reached its climax, Moscow started its aggression against Ukraine, first in Crimea, then in the Donbass, laying the groundwork for the full-scale invasion of 2022. The Revolution of Dignity became a defining moment in modern Ukrainian history. But 12 years later, the fight it began still continues, and the cost keeps rising.